Al Jazeera podcasts.
Today, the world's friendliest border turns frosty.
This week, we were very much a nation fighting for survival. And, there's actually quite a bit of fight from everyone.
After a close call on trade, Canadians are coming together and looking to expand their horizons beyond the U.S. I'm Kevin Hirten, and this is The Take.
I'm Stephen Marche. I live in Toronto, and I'm the author of The Next Civil War.
All right. Stephen, let's catch people up on this roller coaster of a week in the U.S. relationship with Canada. Oh, my God. So February 1st, Trump signs an executive order imposing major tariffs on Canadian goods. And this sends just shockwaves throughout the entire continent, really.
Today, the United States informed us they will be imposing 25% tariffs on Canadian exports to the United States and 10% on Canadian energy. A decision that, should they elect to proceed with, should take effect on Tuesday, February 4th.
And Canadians, who, are considered very measured, friendly, react with real anger, don't they?
Yeah, I don't really remember Canadians getting as patriotic as they got this past week. It's truly unifying across provinces and across political parties. Doug Ford, who's the Premier of Ontario, he's been a very, very loud nationalist voice, threatening to do things like cut off the power to northern New York.
We will go to the full extent, depending how far this goes. We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State, and over to Wisconsin. I don't want this to happen, but my number one job is to protect Ontario.
And he's a conservative, and the Liberals, who are the people who fought against Trump the first time, are sort of equally vociferous. So yeah, it's fighting time in Canada for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples you're seeing. I think one of them that comes to mind is booing the U.S. national anthem.
I have been at hockey games where the American anthem has cut out, like the mic is cut out, and Canadians have finished singing the anthem, the American anthem, right? Like, you have to understand how much it takes to get Canadians to boo the U.S. anthem. When you go to the grocery store, people are actively checking what products they're buying and where they come from. I've never seen that before in this country. You're talking about literally our blood relatives. We all have friends and family who live across the border. So yeah, it has provoked pretty extreme reactions. But I think it's pretty natural that it would provoke such an extreme reaction since it's such an insane act. And of course, the talk about being a 51st state really hits Canada it puts us in fear.
What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. We give them protection, military protection.
Yeah, when's the last time Canadians were unified like this?
I cannot remember. I think genuinely it was sometime in the 60s. Nixon did something similar in the 70s, but I don't remember it producing anywhere near this kind of unanimity where you have, because it's not just a unanimity of politics, it's also a unanimity of strategy.
Yeah.
Like the conservatives and the liberals, like Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau would do exactly the same thing if they in power, right? Like they're making little remarks and things like that, but really fundamentally they're in pretty firm agreement about the strategy, right? As well as the not joining America, which is if they said anything other than that, they should just leave Canada.
Yeah,
right. Like they would not be welcome in the country anymore. So yeah, I can't actually remember a more unanimous moment.
So back to the sort of timeline. February 1st, Trump signs this executive order. Then we see Prime Minister Justin Trudeau come out with retaliatory measures. Can you talk about Trudeau's response, his immediate response?
Well, the response was, first of all, he gave a rather moving speech about our connections with America. It's not just a trade relationship. We've had deep ties of allyship for a long time. We fought in almost all of the wars together.
Yeah.
From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of the Korean Peninsula, from the fields of Flanders to the streets of Kandahar, we have fought and died alongside you.
The retaliatory measures were pretty simple. They targeted key products in Republican states.
They will raise costs for you, including food at the grocery stores and gas at the pump.
But, we knew we were going to take a licking. I mean, it's when a bully steps up, you're going to get hit in the face. But I don't think that really intimidated anyone.
Canadians get hurt, but I can assure you one thing, the Americans are going to feel the pain as well.
Moving on to their sort of timeline. The day before these tariffs are supposed to hit, we hear that Trump and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau have gotten on the phone and that Trump is hitting pause on all of this for 30 days. Now, the official explanation here is that this is all about the drug war and that Trudeau agreed to beef up border security.
In addition to its existing border plan, Trudeau says Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. Canada will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering.
What do you make of this? What's your understanding of why this didn't go forward?
Well, we've been fighting a border war for about 50 years to prevent crime, and particularly guns, from coming across the American border.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of fentanyl going from Canada to the United States is truly negligible. Apparently we're going to appoint a fentanyl drug czar for the border, but that's going to be a badge on somebody's uniform. There's no job there to do. But he kept changing his mind. It was then it was about banking, then it was about the 51st state, he paused it because the stock market was crumbling. Yeah. Right. And the price of eggs is going up. And truly, the American people, they don't have any solidarity at this point. When prices start to rise, that is going to cause internal insecurity in that country. And tariffs are the fastest way to get there. The American people just simply cannot tolerate higher gas prices. They've fired every political leader who's ever led to them having higher gas prices. So, Americans are not a people who can suffer. And that actually means that he really doesn't have any leverage. That's what we found out today. Yeah. That's what we found out during this whole incident.
Absolutely. Okay. So, because the problem itself that he's identifying is fentanyl, yet it's less than 1% of what's been seized in the U.S.
No. Let's not even talk about this as something to actually treat seriously. Okay. This is not anything to treat. I don't think you can, if you try to think through his ideas, you'll drive yourself insane.
You saw that with Justin Trudeau, though. He's trying to address it. He's like, well, why don't you just talk to us if you got a problem?
Well, he did the only thing he could. There's no difficulty in the strategy. It's the strategy of a bully in a schoolyard, right? You just hit them as hard as you can and take your beating up front and show them that you're going to fight back as hard as you can, because all bullies are fragile. Yeah. What we're seeing right now seems like this extension of American power, but it's obviously the collapse of it, right? It is the collapse of the administrative state, and everyone in the world is figuring it out. Right, this is not Mexico's never gonna a month from now. You think Mexico's gonna say anything? It's go ahead, do it. Yeah, and go ahead, try impose your tariffs. Let's see if your people are willing to put up with $12 avocados. This is a radical weakening very quickly. America is not to be feared. Its breakdown is to be feared, and that's a different matter for Canada especially.
More with Stephen after the break. Okay, Stephen, so it's important to remind people that this is not over, actually. We've averted this trade war for now, but it's still on the table in 30 days. And if Trump follows through, it could have major consequences for Canadians. It seems like this has all been a bit of a wake-up call for Canadians in terms of how tied the country is to the U.S. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah, but, we've been receiving that wake-up call since the 40s. The problem is when you're next to the world's largest economy and a huge consumer economy that basically is spending as much as it can spend at any given moment, the pull of that is just incredibly dynamic. Yeah. And I think it will be a wake-up call in very serious ways. There probably will be attempts to send oil to China. But there's another thing that's happened here, that is the bluff got called, right? And so the next time the bluff happens, we'll just call it right away. What really matters for Canada is that this deep trading partner, this deep ally, this focus for our lives is falling apart. And how do we deal with that? Yeah. And that's sort of it's actually worse than having an enemy. It's like your big brother got addicted to meth. Mm-hmm. one of the things that's so incredible about these tariffs is that, they're in violation of the agreement that Donald Trump signed, right? And the whole legal apparatus around the trade arbitration and disputes has just been thrown away, like with a signing of a pen. And, you can deal with enemies who are unreliable, and you can deal with friends who are unreliable. But when people don't have honor, when you can't believe what comes out of their mouths, it's almost impossible to do business with such people. It's impossible to live with such people. So what we're realizing is that we're going to have to deal with that.
So the dig on Trump is that he's all talk, no action, and we touched on that. But one thing he has been able to accomplish is to make Trudeau look like a statesman, which is no small feat. I mean, about a month ago, he resigned pretty much in disgrace.
His popularity continued to dwindle amidst a slew of ethics scandals and political missteps, his approval rating dropping to only 24%.
Meanwhile, his rival, conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, had been cruising, using a Trump-like playbook. He was the odds-on favorite to be next prime minister. Does this scramble the politics in Canada leading up to the next election?
I bought my way out of a bet that Poilievre was going to lose because I was so sure that he was going to, it was done. It was done, right? It absolutely scrambles it. Probably not to the point where Poilievre will lose. I think the question of a minority government actually comes into play now.
Really?
Which is a more complex situation. But yeah, I mean, this is Poilievre's worst nightmare. He made his bed among the the manosphere of the United States.
Sure.
And now they're all our national enemies.
The easy version on Pierre Poilievre is that he's the Donald Trump of the North.
But Trudeau's time is up. He is not an icon. He has not been an icon for a long time of anything remotely concerning patriotism. So it's actually kind of funny. Like, both parties have been involved in Canada's broken kind of rhetoric, and now they need to turn to the opposite. It's a kind of scramble for patriotism, really.
Okay, so as we wrap up, Stephen, so Trump hit pause on the trade war for now, but he hasn't stopped saying Canada should be the 51st state. Canada has always viewed the U.S. as its kind of crazy neighbor to the south, but now it's actually a dangerous neighbor.
Yeah.
People roll their eyes, but this is the president of the United States who's saying these things, and will continue to say them, we think. Do you think that this unity that we talked about, we're seeing in Canada, do you think this is a blip, or do you think that unity might be able to help Canada navigate the challenges of the next 4 years?
Well, the last time that America was in pure political chaos and talked about invading Canada was during the first Civil War, when they had a large standing army and they openly discussed, marching on Montreal. And the Canadian reaction to that was to confederate. Like, before then, we were just a bunch of colonies in the north that were loosely tied to the British Empire. Because of this threat, we said, okay, one thing, we may disagree amongst each other, but one thing we know for sure is we're not those people, right? And you have to understand, there's a Quebecois, not sovereigntist, but like a Quebecois party in power in Quebec, who is openly saying we are on the side of Canada. We are going to all stand together.
Amazing.
That's what Trump has done, right? And so I think the effects of the threat of becoming American, especially at this point in history when America's never really been uglier, right? Where it's never really been a country that you would less want to be part of. Yeah. That is a big, big threat. I think it will actually have a pretty enduring effect, or certainly over the next 4 years. Right. How much it lasts after Trump. But in the meantime, people are openly discussing, what resistance to an American occupation would look like on the streets of Toronto.
Okay. I just want to get your reaction on one last thing. Rob Gillies of the Associated Press, this was his lead. One thing has become abundantly clear. One of the world's most durable and amicable alliances born of geography, heritage, and centuries of common interests is broken. Your thoughts? Well,
is your relationship with your drug-addled brother broken when he burns your house down? Like, it's broken for a while, but he's still your brother. right? And eventually you're going to have to pick up the pieces and come to some kind of relationship. I think Canadians are actually smart enough to know that when we're talking about America right now, that's not a meaningful phrase. There's various institutions, there's various states, there's various actors, but there's no system in place guiding it all together. And so that means that when you are making strategy and when you are planning how to deal with America, you actually are dealing with many different entities in a very loose kind of association, and you have to understand it on those terms, right? And that's how you beat them. It's also how you become friends with them again. So there's certainly the idea that we're going to become the 51st state. That just makes the bile rise up in your throat, and that's what Trump does. He makes you angry. That's how his politics works. It's a politics of anger. And so, of course, Canadians are angry. But eventually, 4 years from now, if we all survive, we will have to come to some kind of terms with America. What it will be different. But that was true in Confederation, right? Before Confederation and after Confederation, we still had relationships with the United States. They were just very different.
Stephen Marche, thank you for coming on The Take.
Pleasure.
And that's The Take. Now we want to hear from you. What stories do you want to see next on the show? Let us know in the comments below what you'd like us to cover. Your feedback helps shape future episodes, so really don't be shy. We'll see you tomorrow.